Welcome back. Florida Congressman Cory Mills filing articles of impeachment against President Biden on Friday over potentially withholding weapons to Israel if Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu launches a major offensive in Rafah. Mills accusing the president of abuse of power by, quote, soliciting a quid pro quo with Israel while leveraging vital military aid for policy changes. The New York Times is reporting that the president made the same threat on a February phone call with Netanyahu, which was kept under wraps and not mentioned in the official White House readout of the call. Joining me now is Florida Congressman Cory Mills. He's also a member of the House Armed Services Committee and the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. Give us your sense of this story and tell us more about these articles.
Well, Maria, to be honest with you, this is very clear. It's an obvious this for that, a quid pro quo, or what's now should be called a quid pro Joe. We have seen where in Michigan during the Democrat primary, 13.2% filed as uncommitted. That's 101,457 votes. He now sees the pro-Hamas sympathizers who are across the country protesting on university campuses as well as blocking streets. He sees the recent polls, which shows President Trump up in all the swing states to include a 1.2% on average increase in Michigan. This is a clear understanding. He knew what the Israeli supplemental aid package would include. He knew that once this was congressionally appropriated aid funding, that it was supposed to move forward. And instead, he pulled the wool over the eyes of the American people by sending the first shipment, which was taken by Hamas, which is being utilized by their fighters and also to be sold off to help with the counteroffensive, while withholding weapons shipments to the IDF and to Israel in exchange for political gain in the elections. So as far as I'm concerned, I use 98% of Representative Jerry Nadler's own language that he used to impeach President Trump for a very similar action. The difference is that it's not an accusation. This is actually something that has taken place by Biden and his administration.
Well, it's pretty incredible, the language that we're hearing from this administration as it relates to Israel. Yesterday, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken delivered one of the administration's strongest pushbacks, strongest rebukes of Israel amid the war with Hamas. There were a pair of, and the New York Post is reporting this morning. During a pair of interviews, Blinken said to the United States, said this: the United States wants Israeli forces, quote, to get out of Gaza. Unbelievable. That's what Blinken says. And then the Washington Post reporting this outrageous story as well, that the administration is, quote, offering Israel valuable assistance in an effort to persuade it to hold back on a full-scale Rafah invasion. And that assistance includes sensitive intelligence to help the Israeli military pinpoint the location of Hamas leaders and find the group's hidden tunnels. So what this story suggests is that the administration has information about where the Hamas terrorists are in these hidden tunnels, and they haven't shared it yet? Really? I spoke with Utah Senator Mike Lee on this yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures. Watch. The U.S. knows where the terrorists are. They're not going to share the information with Israel unless Israel doesn't go into Rafah. This story is outrageous in the Washington Post.
The story is outrageous. The facts underlying it are tragic. Look, this is extortion. We're saying we can help you locate your victims who have been kept under just horrible, horrific conditions, the worst anyone can imagine. We will share that information with you if and only if you choose not to defend yourselves. We are re-victimizing the victim nation here. This is terrible.
I mean, can this get any worse, Congressman?
Well, it can get worse because one of the things that my great colleague, Senator Mike Lee, left out is that this intelligence that can be supplied to Israel would also help with recovering American hostages. Right. This is one of the first priorities that he's supposed to actually be doing, is protecting the American people. Look, Maria, there is a plethora of impeachable offenses. We could have looked at the failure and the violation of the Take Care Clause to enforce federal laws on the border. We could have done the separation of power abuse, where he is still trying to utilize money to buy votes for the college bailout, superseding what SCOTUS ruling has actually done. Mine is very clear. He is playing politics and withholding information that could save people's lives. He is withholding defense articles that he had already approved so he can pander to the radical left, the Rashida Tlaibs of the world, the Ilhan Omars of the world, the people who are taking over the Democratic Party. He is withholding these items, these congressionally appropriated aid items, in an effort to buy an election. That is a clear quid pro quo.
I mean, why? Why would he walk away from our number one ally in the Middle East to get votes? I mean, I think based on the people that I've spoken with about this story, this has been a red line for Jewish voters. He's lost a lot of independence with this decision.